St. Charles High. This is Dean Chapman
and Libby Lewis
here today in the Crow's Nest to talk about relationships. But first,
Dean, what's your celebrity crush?
I have to say I go through phases. As of right now, it is Robert Pattinson in the Batman. I have already seen it once, and I'm going to see it again on Tuesday with a different friend because
it was just too good.
Oh, the movie is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to go see it.
It's 3 hours, but the whole point is that it's like a slow burn detective, and he's like emo. So I'm like, I relate to that. So it just makes it all the more better.
I watched the first Batman this last weekend, and I loved it. I love superhero movies.
I agree.
I think that they're all really good. My celebrity crush is probably Paul Rudd and Chris Evans. And then you know that movie 10 Things I Hate About You?
Yeah.
How it has Heath Ledger and then what's the one boy?
The one who plays what's his name? Starts with a C.
I don't remember
the nerdy boy trying to get with the popular boy? Yeah.
It's him too. I think he's cute.
Oh, I forget his name, but I never watched that film until I had to watch it for my college comp class, and I literally had to write a paper about it.
On it. That was my favorite movie for the longest time.
It's a feel-good movie.
It really is. It's a good one.
It's one of those things where I would watch Pride and Prejudice and I would cry and then be like, okay, it's time to watch 10 Things I Hate About You. And then I cry and then I'm like, is love real? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
That was a really good transition.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should just talk about relationships in general. I have very limited experience and I will definitely be talking about how that can impact school and being queer and dealing with relationships, but I think this is more your territory than anything.
It makes me nervous talking about it because in the end no one's really right. There's no right answer for some things, and that's where it gets really tricky. But
yeah,
me and my boyfriend have been dating for almost a year. We started talking in March. Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, crazy. It's already been a year, but there's definitely been some ups and downs, which is normal. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I have a sister who's already graduated college, but even just seeing her and her journey through dating and stuff, it high school dating is so different than the real world.
100%.
And I feel not everybody gets that clue in just yet. That you are not going to see your significant other every day, and that communication is the most important thing.
I agree.
That's the thing with high school that makes me worried is that high school it's like a trial run for the real world, and I missed out on that trial because I had a girlfriend my sophomore year for 3 months, but she lived in Texas. It was an online relationship, and that's something that I can talk about also is how e-dating or online dating has become such a big thing, and how long distance relationships can really warp your perception of how a relationship really is. Because the whole point is that if you're in a long distance relationship is that you usually have a car or an income where you can buy a plane ticket and maybe see them for a week or a weekend.
Yeah.
But when, you're a kid, your mom's not going to let you drive outside of the city. So, that just makes things a lot harder.
When you think of it as in an overall perspective, you're only dating people at your high school. So that doesn't give you very many options. If you think about how big your high school is and then how big the state is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the states that surround your state, and then the country, and then the oceans, and then the continents. Like, there is so much out there for us, and we don't even want to look.
Yeah.
Like, we're looking for temporary fixes, I think, is a big thing of it. Which, like, if you find someone that you enjoy being around and you think are good for you and, you know, yada, 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 then good. Like, go for that, you
hit
know?
the jackpot.
But that doesn't mean that this is the end for you. I think that that's a big thing is when people break up, they think that they're just losing everything and that it was worth nothing and that it sucks and everything sucks. And, like, yeah, for a hot minute it's going to. But you have to think, like, optimistically about, like, what they taught you. Like, can I still have respect for this person? Like, can I still have love for this person and not be in love with them? Because usually you can't. Like, they still helped you. They still cared about you. They still gave you things. Like, they still did everything that you wanted them to do. They still helped you in some way. Yeah. So you have to think of it as that and not take things so serious. We're looking for end results right now when we're just beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, the way that I used to think about things, it makes me feel dumb now. Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, it's just like, you think about it so dramatically or urgently.
It's like an ultimatum.
Yes, but it's like, use this person to help you and work on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you really can do. Find what you do want, you know?
You have to make peace with what happened, as well as, like, I have a friend who recently went through a breakup, and not gonna lie, it's kind of messy. I was like, girl, he is not worth a dime. But now she's looking back and is like, oh, all that, like, stuff, like the ooey gooey, like, love yous and don't hang ups, that's so gross. Like, why would I ever do that? But the thing is that, you know, your past self was happy in that moment, and your past self didn't know what the future was going to hold and what future you was going to deal with. So you need to let her have her moment in the past and understand that that's what's making you happy. Mm-hmm. And, like, you just have to, like, kind of separate yourself because, like, you didn't know any better. You know, that was just natural and that was normal for you. And now that it's not normal anymore, it doesn't make it less valid. Yeah.
100%.
This is just, like, a really complicated topic. 100%. Like, there's so many facets and so many life paths that go differently and how you meet different people. And yeah, it's just crazy. And I think, I mean, I'm watching it from the sidelines for the most part, and some of the stuff I hear, I'm like, get out of there, or like, marry him. Like, it goes two different ways entirely. Oh gosh, there's one thing that I want to talk about, and this kind of goes hand in hand with some other things, but like friend groups and dating within friend groups. It's a sign of trouble for the most part. It really depends on how the friend group works and, like, the relationship in general, because I remember in middle school there would just be people, or there's still people now who have a friend group where they just all date each other in different, like, instances, and I'm like,
it's weird.
And I'm like, the drama of it all, that's so much, because it almost feels like you're dating everybody because you're so, like, close with everybody else that at
everyone's
some point
in each other's business.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you keep your relationship not a secret but private? Mm-hmm. And I think that's communication above all else. I mean, all relationships are love and communicating, because, like, You have to communicate your needs and communicate when you need space and communicate, like, you know, not confrontation in a bad way, but being like, hey, like, you seem really down, you seem this way, is there any way that I can help? And honestly, sometimes the best ways to go about it is kind of put the ball in their court and say, what do you need from me?
Yeah. Speaking of friends, I feel like being able to juggle everything while in a relationship is really, really hard, because I'm a very busy person, and like I have, like, I play sports. I, like, right now I'm playing soccer. I'm also doing, like, work. I'm also, you know, taking care of my cat, and then I'm in a relationship and doing school. So it's a nonstop day for me every day. And I don't have many friends anymore. Like, I kind of I didn't cut them off, but I stopped hanging out with them. I stopped doing things with them, and like, it was my fault. Like, I'm not really proud of it, but like, something had to give, and I chose for it to be my friends, because, like, not because they weren't important to me, but because, like, I think that I kind of knew that they were always going to be there, and maybe that was me taking that for granted. But I got so wrapped up in everything, and I was so overwhelmed that I chose to, like, withdraw myself. And honestly, I feel like it hurt me way more than helped me. Because, like, now I'm trying to build my friendships back up. I'm trying to hang out with people, and it's really hard. It's really hard to get back into that, because you think that friends aren't that important. And, like, I'm a very introverted person. So, like, sometimes, like, I don't want to be around people, like, a lot of times. But even for me, like, being around people, being a part of something, like, it definitely has its benefits that I wasn't getting. And it was really hard to cope with that. Like, I felt like a loser. And I know that I wasn't, but, like, it just made me feel bad about myself, because it was like, I don't even have any friends. Like, nobody wants to be around me. And, like, I knew it was my fault. But I don't know. It was just really hard.
It was when you lay out all your options of what you're dealing with at the time, friendships, unfortunately, were the only one where you had wiggle room.
Yeah.
Other things had, like, demands of you, and you can't change dates. You can't do this. You can't do that. Yeah, like, I had tech week for Bye Bye Birdie last week, and I literally did nothing. Like, I went to school, barely survived, then had to go back at like 4 or 3, and I stayed there till 8 or 9, and I went home, I ate food, I did not talk to my parents, I maybe said hi, pet the dogs, and then I immediately went to bed. Like, there was no room at all for anything else. And
literally last week, I was like, Dean, why won't you be my friend? Like, I was like mad at you about it, because I was like, I wasn't actually, but I was like,
as a joke,
like, hang out, like, talk to me, like, hello, I haven't seen you, like,
I have stuff to do. I'm sorry.
Know, and I totally get that, and like, that's just what I'm talking about. It's like, it's not like really accountability. Like, it's not like I was holding you accountable for anything, but like, I still care about you. You know, like, I still wanted to be around you. I'm sure you wanted to be around your friends too.
Yeah.
Like.
No, yeah, all of my, like, theater is where my friends are primarily.
Yeah.
But I was just hanging out with them, like, so much. We were sick and tired of each other. Literally, by the end of the week, we're all like, I never want to see you again. Like, literally, get away from me. But I know we're filming this right before spring break, and I'm probably going to edit it after. But right now, I just know, because I know myself, that, like, 3 days into spring break, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls wanting to hang out with somebody. Yeah. But I'm going to go see the Batman movie again, so that kind of counts as hanging out with somebody. But, like, it's one of those things, like, I might be introverted, but I still have social needs, and it's about finding someone who understands your social needs. Because, like, you have some people who just want to go out and do stuff and do this and do that, and like, and sometimes I'm like, do you just want to like chill in my room and we can watch like TikToks, or
Yep.
like I'll screen share my phone to the TV and I'll go on Tinder and we'll swipe through people for fun. Yeah, that's another thing we can talk about is like
Tinder.
Yeah, when you're a senior, you can get on Tinder, and I've caught some people in 4K. I have caught many of people in this school in 4K who should not be having Tinder but have Tinder.
You better be careful with that.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say names, but it's like, dude, no one's going to want you because
don't they lie about their age?
Yes, they lie about their age, which is illegal. But also, like, the thing with Tinder is that everybody is in college or out of college. So if you're gonna try to talk to people, the moment that you mention that you're still in high school, it's shut down. Everything, mission failed. Like, it's not gonna happen. So
your spaceship blew up.
Yeah, like, I just treat it as like a game. Like, they're not real people. It's just a game of hot or not. Like, that's just it. But that's a big tangent. I was gonna talk about how, like, just finding people that meet your needs and that understand your own personal vibe. Like, I couldn't date someone who would want to go out all the time and do this and do that.
Yeah. And that's good that you know that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good sign.
And that's all about, I think that's what the small talk stage is for, is like to understand like who you are as a person and what you're looking for.
Yeah, like the only person I hang out with really is my boyfriend. Yeah, he's my best friend, but it's not healthy at all, you know, and because our adolescence is such a perfect time for us to grow and find ourselves and find our identity and find our morals and the type of people we want to be around. And so picking up and feeding off of another person is not gonna give you the answers that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt genuinely so alone and confused when I didn't have people around me. And it wasn't because the people that were around me weren't giving me enough or anything like that. It was just because I wasn't experiencing enough personally for me to feel like I was growing, for me to feel like I was learning and doing better and trying and literally anything. Like, it just made me feel like poop.
Yeah.
All the time. And like, it genuinely made me feel alone because I didn't know who to turn to.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, it's I don't know.
You have different types of relationships with people for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Cutting yourself off. Like, there's some people, like, as soon as they date someone, or you hear all the time of like, oh, I have this best friend, but as soon as they get a boyfriend, they just cut me off completely. That shouldn't be happening. Yeah. You are not replacing your best friend with your significant other. They should be able to be comorbid without any issue. If anything, they should be besties too.
Yeah. My friend, she lived in Illinois, so like an hour away, because she went to SAUE, and she was my best friend. And I used to like literally spend every weekend with her. Like, you know, she was my number one. And her moving away and going to college, like, even though she was only an hour, it was really hard for us to find time to see each other. Like, it was super difficult. And like, now we're in different spots. So like, she's coming back home and she's gonna go to community college here in St. Louis. But then like, I'm gonna be going somewhere next year. And then we were like talking about rooming together. Like,
people come back around.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that, like, growing up with Disney movies have messed all of us up. There's,
Yes.
oh my gosh, like Starstruck, Geek Charming, 16 Wishes, all that. Not garbage, but like, all that stuff has severely warped what we think high school is, and then also how we think relationships are. Because I I'll hear some stuff and I'm just like, you need to get out of a relationship. Like, your boyfriend is straight yelling at you and, is so wishy-washy, or God knows he might be cheating on you, and you're just
gonna
like,
take
okay,
it. Yeah.
yeah, like you have to, like, that's not good. You're not supposed to be compliant with that stuff. Like, it's I don't think that cheating is normalized, like, all the way, but I feel like people it's literally just a communication problem in holding people accountable, and like, cuz you're not supposed to have life 360 on your boyfriend, but there should be some level that if there is an issue within the relationship or someone's needs aren't met, y'all need to talk about it and not just let it sit under the surface until it's one big fat pimple and then it explodes on you.
A lot of it is about maturity.
Yeah.
Like being with someone that's actually mature, because it's hard at this age. It is definitely hard. Like, no matter who you're dating, like, we're all at different levels of how we see the world, what we see, like what we've been through. Like, we're all in the same spot, but we've all experienced very different things. And that's kind of where, like, your environment comes into play with how you love people and how you let people love you. And yeah, that's why I think that relationships and communication is so hard, because some people grow up and they don't see that. They don't get it. If you can't see it and understand it, then it's going to be a really big struggle for you to do it.
Yeah. I think that either there's two ways that you can go about it when it's like learning from your parents, because I feel like no matter what, your parents' relationship and how you saw that growing up is going to kind of impact you in some way. Either you think that it's normal to have something similar if your parents had a bad relationship, or you want the exact opposite. And some people go want the exact opposite in such a way that it's literally like a 180. So it's like one type of toxic to another type of toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I bring up Euphoria because I haven't watched it, but I kind of know a lot of the stuff. But it's like, I don't remember specific characters, but
they're all messed up.
Yeah, they're all really messed up. But like, someone would see like yelling and fighting, and then they think that silence is the answer, and that never talking about it is the solution, because they want to get away from what they saw when they were a kid. Or like like Cassie and Nate or whatever. Cassie literally is like, you can control everything that I do, what I wear, how I act, who I talk to. It's all yours. You can do it for me. That is not okay.
No.
But she's trying to like compensate for something. That's the whole point, is that like that type of mindset of wanting to get away from what you saw as a kid is literally just like filling a hole in your heart and like trying to submerge like all of your thoughts and feelings into something else that maybe in the end is going to come back around, and you're going to deal with exactly what your mother or father or parent has dealt with.
Yeah. I think that emotional vulnerability is something that's really hard for a lot of people. I see it in a lot of boys, but that doesn't mean that it's just boys. You know, it's in everyone. I think that trusting someone is a very scary thing, and a lot of us have a lot of good reasons to not trust people. And trying to see the good in people can sometimes be really difficult. It could be like a person that wants to give you everything and is literally the definition of perfect partner. And if you're not healed, like within yourself from that past trauma, you're not gonna see them. You know, you're not gonna be able to appreciate them. You're not gonna be able to grow with them. I think that one of the things that I've learned that I wish more than anything I would have known sooner, and that like I've heard so many times but didn't even like comprehend what it was trying to say, was like it was the advice of no one will love you until you love yourself. And I didn't understand it at all. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, yes, you can. My mom loves me and I don't love myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think what that means is that you have to show people how to treat you. You have to show people how to love you and care for you, and what you're going to be willing to give back. Because if, for example, Cassie and Nate, if she lets him treat her like that, then obviously he's not going to treat her well. If I was like, no, you're not allowed to do that to me because that's a boundary, and if you cross that, I'm not going to be with you.
Yep.
That's no one's going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to do it anyway, and you're going to change your mind. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. Like, you have to set respectful, safe boundaries for yourself in order to not get hurt. And that's where, like, I used to love blaming everything on me and blaming, you know, and some things were my fault, like letting people treat me like that. But it took me a long time to realize that the world is not pure.
Yeah.
At all. I would try and see the best in people, and I always would. And that's kind of where they hit me in the weak spot, you know, where I was vulnerable, you know, where I can't see, you know, my back. They stab me in the back, and that was hard to get over. Like, that was hard to heal from and, like, still see people the same. But I'm glad that it gave me that perspective to not trust everyone, because I think that I gave way too many people way too much. And a lot of selfish and greedy people will just take and not give anything back. And that's where you have to realize you have to understand where to give yourself and where to withhold yourself.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of time.
That takes a lot of time, and that is like, that comes with navigating dating in general. Not that, I don't think that anybody should have to hurt in order to learn. But, you know, you're going to come across people who are going to be toxic and who are possibly or definitely abusive, and you don't deserve to go through that. But you have to take those moments where you have moved on and you got out of that situation and take what you've learned and kind of apply it, whether it's boundary setting or communication or knowing when you need to stop or you need a break, and telling that to whoever you're dating or whoever you're talking to.
Yeah. I didn't have a good childhood, and so, like, a lot of that has affected the person I am today. And I think that a lot of it I've, you know, grown from and gotten better, but, like, some stuff still stings. Like, to this day, like, I'm 18 years old, and stuff that happened over half of how, like, the age I am still affects me to this day. And a lot of it has to do with, like, one of my parents, aka like my dad, and like being able to see a healthy relationship in that, because all I saw was the way my dad treated my mom. All I saw was how horrible he was, how like useless and worthless he made me feel, And so like when you grow up thinking that you're literally scum, it makes it so difficult to make that change. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, feel bad for me, because like I don't care, it's fine. But like I'm saying, like I know that so many people go through that same exact thing with their parents, just like kind of destroying their purity, their love, their caringness, their kindness, because we're not born evil,
Yep.
And I say that because I want you to realize that that's not love. That was never love. And like, who even knows that that's real? Like, I kind of don't believe in love anymore. Like, it's stupid. Like, I do love people and whatever, but like the whole soulmate thing, like, yeah, I believe in it, but I don't know. It's just very iffy.
And I think that kind of goes with like the Disney Channel.
Yes,
like I feel like
the happily ever after.
Yeah, social media and like just the way people spin it is like it just like taints the whole thing. I feel like love in general is so much more casual than people think it is. They think it's like literally some fanfare trumpets and like a floral wreath and oh my gosh, pretty dresses, Disney princess. But like you can still have love even if you're just like sitting on the couch playing Mario Kart. You can still have love even when you both are working on homework in the same room. You both can have love even if it's a FaceTime call and like they're passed out and you're awake.
I think that that's what makes it true. Like that's what makes it valuable, because everyone thinks that it's just like the good things or like the presents that they give you, the dinners that they take you out to, the flowers they give you, like just everything is so romanticized, when it's more about having someone that you're comfortable with, that you can rely on, that you can depend on, that you can have fun with. Like it's who you can relax with, like who you can invite into your home and still feel safe. And that right there is a biggie for me.
Yeah, I think that for me personally, I want to like revel in the mundane. I love just like quality time and hanging out, even if we're not doing the same thing. Being in the same space is that feels like the most important thing to me. It's just like, we don't even have to talk to each other, but like your presence makes me feel safe and makes me feel better. That is that's way more powerful than any like night out that you could give me.
What do you know what your love language is?
I think I know my first one is quality time, and then I think my second one, I feel like it was words of affirmation. There's a website that you can go to if you just look up love language quiz, and it'll have you go through, and it's like physical touch, quality time, acts of service. I think acts of service might have been my second one or third one. I don't know.
Yes, hold on. I screenshotted mine the other day because I retook it. You should take it kind of often because mine changed.
Yeah.
But mine was quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, and gift giving. But that's weird to me because I think like I don't like when people touch me.
Same.
Like I'm not an affectionate person. I really like my bubble. I really like my space. Like my friend came up to me and she was like sitting right next to me, and like she was in my bubble, and I was like, "Can you please get away?" Like I didn't even mean to be like that, and like it was funny. Like it wasn't like I was actually being rude, but
I had literally
like,
a similar thing happen yesterday. My friend, she just like kept bumping into me in the hallway as we were going to lunch, and then in the lunch line, like every time I take a step, she'd like take a step and a half closer to me, and I looked over at her and I was just like, if you don't stop this, I swear I'm going to commit a crime. And she was like, oh my god, mean. Which, like, that's like the good thing about having those like friendships. Like, as much as I can sound like a jerk, they know that I never have an intention of like hurting them. But I was like, for real? Like, get out of my space. Like, hello?
I know, I was just like, please get away from me.
I feel your breath on my neck.
Literally. And I'm just like, get the fuck away. Like, it makes me twig so bad.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't feel comfortable at all.
Just, like, ask first.
I really like acts of service, though. And I kind of like gift giving. I really love all of them. Besides physical touch. Well, and you know that, like, a lot of, like, I've heard this thing, and it's like, whatever love language you have is like what you didn't receive as a child. And I was like, all right. Like, that's so messed up, because then I was thinking about it and I was like,
Hashtag absent parent.
Yeah.
He was either in the military or he was working TSA, so he had like really weird hours. Yeah. So
my dad
that checks out.
Yeah, my dad was just a piece of poo-poo when I was younger. He's okay now. We like him now. What I was gonna say earlier is, like, I growing up, like, trying to be friends with guys, it was like literally impossible. I've had 2 guy friends that I felt like never had a crush on me. Actually, one, literally just one, because the other one, like, he was my best friend, but I still think that he likes me. But it's isn't that weird? Like, boys are only friends with girls that they would date.
Yeah.
That's an immature thing.
That's
like,
harrowing. Like, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, isn't it horrible? Like, it's just like, oh.
Like, I was, like, I hate the concept of tomboy, but that's definitely, like, what I was in elementary school.
Me too.
So I was friends with the boys, but, like, I feel like the playground is so much different. Like, I feel like I'm not a woman, but I definitely grew up with womanhood and had to deal with stuff. So, like, I felt like I literally have seen boys become monsters from elementary school to middle school, and definitely in high school. Like, you see these kids and I'm like, you used to be so lame. You were wearing matching Nike highlighter yellow fits and like spiky hair gel hair, and now you want to like assault women? Like, what? Like, it's such a mind melting situation to like be like, you used to be so much better than you are now.
Yeah. The world is really, I think that rape culture, especially in relationships, is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in relationships. I didn't mean it like that, but like just in general, like it's horrible. It's not healthy at all.
Yeah.
It's really bad, and it makes me really sad, and it kind of makes me gross out. Like, it makes me feel disgusting, like, thinking about it. Like, I don't know, it definitely changes you, though. Like, being a part of that definitely changes you.
I think
that's kind of where, like, another trust thing comes in, too.
Yeah. I think that when it comes to serious situations like that, it's always believe the victim first.
Mm-hmm.
And if it turns out that said victim was lying or did some other stuff, then just back away from it. Because even if the allegations were wrong, that doesn't mean that you should like go up in arms with the person that was being targeted as this way or that way. And that happens with like artists. I feel like we're learning that from music artists. Like uh, Melanie Martinez had a rape allegation a couple years ago, and I immediately like threw away her T-shirt that I like got from Hot Topic. And but as soon as the allegations were proved false, I just started listening to her music again. I didn't, I'm not gonna be like, oh, she's a god, she's a goddess, or I'm not going to literally send death threats to whoever was lying. You just go about it like a normal person. I don't understand why people are so one way or the other. It's so like black and white. Like you can be not neutral, but like after those situations are proof false, you just chill.
Yeah.
Like they don't need support. It was a crappy situation, but like I don't know. And you're gonna have like other people who are less mature who's gonna do those things. You don't have to fall into that crowd. Maybe just like another thing is like long-term relationships in high school. Um, I think that like it's good and bad because I feel like you can still get the same experiences or amount of experiences that you need, but like people want to like go into college with that same relationship, and I'm not saying that it can't work out because for some people it does. Some people have high school sweethearts, whatever, but I just don't think that's the best way to go about it because you are going into an entirely new environment with so many different people. You have to completely redo your friend group because it's not high school anymore. You're not with the kids that you've been with like 6-7 years. And sometimes having that tie with you going into a new place is going to complicate things so much more because the environment, the setting, your timetable, what you can do, how you can do it, when you can talk, that all changes. And some people aren't going to be able to deal with that. Yeah. Or your significant other might be really upset about it, or maybe they're just as busy as you, or they literally just like meet new people, and there's a way that you can say, hey, like, not like I've met another person, like if you're already like small talking, that's still technically cheating, but there's a way to nicely say, I think we are in two different environments in two different places, and I want to, experience that. I don't know how to say that because I don't know and I haven't been in that situation yet, but, if you have an older sibling, you can literally, like, ask them, like, how did you go about saying this, or how can I say I want to, like, experience new people or new ties, a new entanglement with somebody.
I agree. My older sister, she's 21, and she's been dating the same boy since her summer going into her freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, like, I know that it can work. Like, I can see that. But I agree with you. Like, it does make things more difficult, and I think that that's where you have to think, like, is this person worth it? And I'm not the type of person to just break up with someone because I automatically don't think it's gonna work. Like, we could try it out. We can try and make it work, but when it does get complicated, instead of desperately trying to hold on, just let go. Mm-hmm. And you will be amazed with the things that come along afterwards.
Yeah.
They're like, if it's not meant to be, then it's not meant to be, and there's literally nothing you can do about that but accept it.
Yeah. I feel like so many people try to just like glue and piece together, you know, like a failing relationship because it's all that they know and they don't want to have to start over again. But
that's a lot of it, is not wanting to start over.
But that is going to hurt you so much, and that's going to hurt your partner so much.
It's selfish to stay in a relationship for that reason.
Yep.
And I think that if you're just waiting, if you're being with them and then waiting for someone else to come along so you don't have to be alone, or come along so you don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
That's really messed up too. That is so messed up. Like, get help.
Yeah.
Work on yourself, because that's what you need. You don't need someone else. You need to work on yourself and be okay with yourself, because obviously you are not right now.
Yeah, you need, like, before you can ever get in a relationship. And, like, honestly, like, loving yourself is always going to be a long haul journey because you change all the time and you're going to have to learn to love every single new version of you. But what I think is more important is knowing how to be alone with yourself. Whether that's physically or whether that's in a relationship, you have to learn to be okay with not having someone, because being codependent is toxic. You need to be able to be independent in all facets of your life before you can bring someone else in.
Yeah. I used to have like a big problem with that, and like I knew that I didn't like myself literally at all. And so I would let people treat me like that because I thought I deserved it. But then like I realized that no matter who it is, I would never treat someone like that. No matter who it was, like I still don't think that they deserve to be treated like that. And so I was like, okay, so now I'm not less than human decency. And so I know that I am worth this. Like, even though I don't like myself all the time and I'm still working on myself, doesn't mean that I get to be treated like dirt, like a doormat. Because like, think about it like this. Do you think that like dogs and cats, like our loved ones, our literal family, do you think that they have more worth than us? No, because they're pets, they're dogs. But would you be okay with treating them like that? And they're a literal animal. Like they're important and they're smart because, you know, they're your family and you love them. But if you wouldn't even let someone treat an animal like that, why are you letting them treat you like that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not because they deserve it. I'm saying because they don't deserve it, you definitely don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Animals have complex feelings too.
100%, yeah.
But humans are even more complex because of how we have created society and how our brain processes things. And that's just even more reason to treat people with kindness.
Yes. That helped me, like, not with self-love, but, like, with knowing how to let people treat me.
Yep.
Because, like, it's the bare minimum for anyone. For literally, I don't care who you are, you're gonna treat me like I'm a human being.
Yep.
Because I am one.
So, thank you so much for tuning into The Crow's Nest. We hope you have a
decadent day.
Decadent. I swear we already did that. Did we really? I don't know. That's okay. I think you should
Let's just have a couple then.
A decadent, delightful, delicious day. And as always,
go get 'em, pirates!